Okay, guys, we're live. Welcome back to another episode of the Football Philosophy Podcast. My name is Abdi, and today we're continuing our series of Stay of Club. And today we're talking about Manchester United. We're looking ahead into the new season, how things are looking for Man United, 20 times Premier League winner. And to do that with me, I've got Mr. Jess from the podcast of The Play to the Whistle. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Great to have you on. Nathan Best is also with us.
How you doing, son? Nice to be on.
Yeah, good. Finally, good to have you back on the show, bro. And Trey is here with us. Big United fan. So there's four of us today here. So Trey, can you hear us? I think he's just having a little technical problems, but he's gonna be able to rejoin us. So yes, guys, there's only one place for us to start with. The preseason is done now. We're just a few days away from the first game of the season. Let's just talk about the preseason. Let's talk about the summer transfer signings that United have made so far. Are they ready into the new season? What kind of goals are there for United? What are the targets? Is it the same old, or like is there something changed? Is there something new in the era at United? Should we expect something better than top four from them? So that's what we're going to talk about today. But let's just start with the preseason. How did you guys feel about it? Is it like does it give you a good feeling going into the season?
Well, for me, pre-season, like you can't. I always think you can't really read too much into it because you can face a team like, say, for example, like Barcelona and beat them by a heavy scoreline, or Bayern Munich and beat them by a heavy scoreline, and then come first day of the season, you've lost 3-0 opening day. So you can't really read much into it. It's all about getting the fitness and getting the players sort of used to playing competitive football again. I think there are a few standout performances. I think it's going to be clear now that the likes of Van der Beek is going to be included. I think he's going to be included more this season. Now he's going to be used as the player
Yes.
we sort of hoped he would be. Obviously,
Yeah.
you've seen his pictures throughout pre-season. He's been bulking up, which is good because he needs to adapt to the physicality of the Premier League. One
Yes.
player who wasn't the. It's been on lines of Van der Beek. The one thing I've been impressed with is because the midfield. Obviously, we talk about signings and whatnot, but the midfield is the key area in how we set up. The Matic Van der Beek pairing, I would happily have that first day over McTominay and Fred. I think it works very well. I think Matic is a bit more experience in that role. Obviously, he can sit deep, allow Van der Beek to go on. And obviously, the last pre-season game against Everton is the last one before the game against Leeds this week. We had a few players come back, the likes of Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, who looked brilliant, by the way, because Luke Shaw was fantastic. Bruno Fernandes, obviously everyone saw the free kick. Hopefully he does a few more of them this season. But yeah, pre-season, you can only look at it as, because who did we play? We played QPR, Everton,
Yes.
Am I thinking Preston or no, Derby? It was Derby, wasn't it?
Derby.
Derby,
Yes.
yeah.
There was a fourth game as well. Who was the fourth game? We played against Everton, Derby, QPR. There was another game as well. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, for some reason I've got Preston in my head, but I don't think it's Preston.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
like I said, you can only look at it and think, players are coming back, players looking sort of fresher, and it's great to actually have a pre-season, or like last year, because last year United went into the opening game having played one game against Aston Villa behind closed doors. And I know a lot of people said, "Oh well, they had a 3-month break last season." It's like, yeah, but there's a difference. Like during that 3-month break, you're not training every day because they couldn't. Train properly every day. But yeah, I can only look at it as a positive, and hopefully next weekend 3 points. But we'll get to that. Yeah.
I mean, you're going to the match, so you'll be able to see United against Leeds United live at Old Trafford. Now, just my next question is actually going to be going from what you've seen so far in the preseason. Is there something in terms of the approach that he's playing with the players that he's playing with in the middle of the park? Is there something that gives you a bit of optimism going into the new season, or do you feel like it's going to be the same, as in like he's going to go with McTominay and Fred again, or we're going to see Donny van der Beek playing in that double midfield pivot, or is he going to be in a position where he's going to be using Donny van der Beek more as a just what we've seen last season?
Oh, I'm not too sure, to be quite honest with you. I think I want to see, like what Nathan said, I want to see maybe some different partnerships in midfield, because I don't feel Fred and McTominay works well together as a two. But it would be nice if we could see more of Van der Beek in the 6 or 8, whichever, in the two-man midfields, because he's comfortable on the ball and he's good at, like, obviously controlling the tempo of games. So it'd be good to have him in there. But we've seen Ollie kind of give people chances and then kind of, when it's a big game, revert back to Fred McTominay.
Yes.
He's tried and trusted partnership. So we have to see. I think because Fred's back now, isn't he? He played yesterday.
Yeah, he got the assist for Dalot's goal.
Yeah. So I personally, I think he's going to start Fred McTominay against Leeds, but hopefully we do see more of Van der Beek, because we're still in.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, because I was saying, obviously we're still going to be in 4 competitions, and obviously you want to do well in the cups. So we do want to see some rotation, and definitely want to see Van der Beek more minutes.
Yes, I think Donny van der Beek plays a particular way, and he needs to be playing one-touch football. And we have to be in possession of the ball for you to get the best out of Donny van der Beek. So there are games where you can use him. There are games where you can say, you know what, this game you just step out of it, and we've got someone else doing basically all the chasing for the ball. Now, my next question is something to do with Bruno Fernandes, and it's something that I have noticed quite a lot in the second part of the season. He's been playing like a little bit. How can I say this? Like, he's been playing a little bit further up the field in the box, so he's almost become like a striker. But then you don't have anybody else building up from the back unless Pogba is there, someone else who can give these passes. McTominay and Fred ain't capable of that. They'll just pass sideways. Is the best way for United to approach this season to go with 4-3-3, bring Bruno Fernandes back into midfield a little bit, play him into that number 8, don't push him too much into the box. Yes, he has scored a lot of goals, but United seem to be missing creativity unless there's Mata. You see what I mean? Unless there's Mata playing in midfield, there's no creativity from the wide guys. It's all about counterattacks with them, or just the odd cross, like for example Greenwood crossing to Cavani for the goal against Tottenham, which was really good cross, but you don't see a lot of that from Greenwood. Now that Jadon Sancho is here, the Marcus Rashford, when he's back fit, you're gonna get more creativity from these forward players. Hopefully, Anthony Martial will be back playing as well. But my point is, if you could bring Bruno Fernandes back into midfield, get him to be more creative, get him to be more on the ball, hopefully less risky with the passes, and play with one holding midfielder, and also play with Pogba. Where do you guys stand on that?
I think a lot does actually depend on the Pogba situation, because there's been talks about, say, PSG potentially going in for him, but I don't think that's going to be the case now, after they're going to be signing some little Argentinian forward who's leaving his club. I don't know who he is. But see, this is the thing. For me, I would go for the 4-3-3, because I think the reason why he plays McTominay and Fred is because he's playing them two to complement, say, one elite holder midfielder, someone who could sit there and do the business sort of thing. So, you see at Chelsea, they can just go, right, Kante sit there, then everyone go. Because Kante can just do the business mopping up. Even at Liverpool, say if Fabinho's in there, I know he's made of glass, but when he's in fit and running and stuff like that, he's a great midfielder. But yeah, I would go for the 4-3-3. I think that would mean if Pogba is staying, you are limiting Van der Beek a bit. But I think rotation wise, obviously you can bring him in and out, sort of make use of him more.
Yeah.
And it's a bit what you say about creativity and stuff like that. I think having Jadon Sancho in there now, we've not. If you look at our forwards, obviously not the main strikers, just strikers meant to score goals anyway. But if you look at wide forwards, their first thought isn't creativity. Their first thought is, can I get a shot off?
Yes.
Sancho's a bit different in way of thinking because he's thinking team orientated.
Yes.
What can I do first? You know,
Yes.
I reckon Cavani would absolutely love playing off Sancho. By the way, you just know Cavani with his little deceptive runs and this, that, and the other. But
Yes.
yeah, back to the point, I would go 4-3-3, but I think it'd be a 4-3-3 if we get a midfielder in. If not, I think it'd be a 4-2-3-1. That'll be the
So
case.
what are you saying? Yeah, another addition in midfield.
Yeah, I still.
Yeah, we're still short.
Yeah, for me, I think realistically speaking, I think although I did sort of praise Matic earlier, Matic has these spells where, like, say if a new contract is on offer, he'll start playing well. As soon as he's got that new contract, it's like, right, okay, keep the feet up, relax, don't have to do out. But obviously, Matic has his uses, but he can't be playing week in, week out.
Yes.
Fred and McTominay, I've always had this theory that because they have the one game against Man City where they're good, they get like a 20-game leverage, and that means they're starting every week. But yeah, if we get another midfield, if we get like an elite, because we saw in the different game, but we saw in the Champions League final how much a CDM's vital.
Yes.
City didn't play a CDM.
Yes.
That's where their goal came through, the middle.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's like,
But this is what I've said like loads of times when I talk about United to like my mates, and that is, I think we conceded so many goals last season. It wasn't just because Maguire doesn't have a good centre-back partner. It's also because the midfield, there's no discipline in there. Regardless of if it's Fred, McTominay, they don't have positional discipline that a DM does have. And they're not comfortable at receiving the ball off the centre-backs. That's why some of the goals we conceded through Fred was us playing into him losing the ball, then we're conceding. I think we conceded, nearly 50 goals in the Prem last season.
Yes.
So that's where we do need a DM. I don't know whether it be Rice, whether it's Ndidi, someone of that kind of mold. We still need that.
There's
100%.
There's talk of Neves sort of playing him in a way like United used to play Coward back in the day.
Yeah, even him, he would be a good fit in there as well. But I think back to your original question, whether it's I would prefer a 4-3-3 as well with the players that we've got. But he does like a 4-2-3-1. I don't see him moving away from that system. But I think we need to switch between different formations next season anyway, because we've got the squad for it. Whether sometimes it's a back three, whether sometimes it's 4-3-3, whether it's the diamond, we need to switch and alternate anyway, because I think sometimes, one of the problems last season was we was using the 4-2-3-1 a bit too much. And I don't think it's suitable against certain teams to play in that formation anyway.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Now, that's going to be my next question, actually. In terms of the goals that we conceded last season, that United have conceded, I think it was majority of it, or more than majority, were from set pieces. Now, to address that issue, United have brought in a set piece coach, Eric Ramsey, I believe his name is. Mm-hmm. And not only is he going to help United in terms of scoring from set pieces, but if United can deal with not conceding from set pieces, like, for example, we've seen against PSG at home, where Marquinhos scored that goal. You look at, for example, like how many goals? I can't even think.
The Europa League final in particular. That was the
Gerard Moreno goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. If United can get rid of this conceding from set pieces, maybe they don't even need to sign a DM, because that's where majority of the goals are coming from.
No, we still need it, 100%. I think it's still imperative that we get one. I can't see us winning a major trophy until we sort that out in midfield.
Yeah.
Carol.
No, yeah, go on.
A DM for me is the most slept on position in world football, because if you look even at Real Madrid when they win the Champions League, stuff like that, I know if you have Ronaldo, Bale, Benzema, it's sort of but their back five and stuff like that, or if you look at the three in the centre, Ramos, Varane, you think, right, okay, they don't need any help, but they still have Casemiro in front of them. you know what I mean?
It's so important.
Even
Yeah, it's very important. Yeah,
even the most elite centre backs in the world need a DM in front of them. As I'll
yeah,
mention again, the Champions League final, Pep decided to go Gundogan, De Bruyne in midfield.
Crazy.
On which, if you literally look at the goal, Mason Mount literally pings it through the middle into
Yeah.
Kai Havertz, and he's in.
yeah,
I mean, for me, I thought it was a great tactic by Pep Guardiola. You know, I really, really appreciate
yeah,
that.
yeah. It was
But,
brilliant.
yeah, it's brilliant from Pep. You know what I mean? But no, I think CDM, for me, I think if you went into this window, I think a lot of us sort of, even here now, could say that the Varane signing was out of nowhere. And it's like, oh, okay, sort of, if you want to go and get Varane, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna
But
come to that actually. The signing of Varane and Jadon Sancho
yeah,
in a bit, but this set piece coach, can you see him actually making a difference, or we've already seen Maguire scoring a header against Everton in terms of defending from set pieces.
I think it'll make a difference because they're going to practice it more and be more well drilled, and they're going to have more structure to what they're doing, and everyone's going to know their jobs. There's going to be more authority, I guess, with certain players taking like charge of situations, better communication. So it should help, 100%.
Yeah, hopefully. Trey, you're back with us. What are you saying?
I'm good. Obviously, just a bit of technical difficulties, but we're here. And
Good,
look,
bro. That's
I'm
the
excited.
commitment.
I'm excited. Obviously, season starts next week, and
Yeah, that's good. No, we were just talking about okay. Oh, it's gone again. All right.
what you
Okay,
do is
so
like every time he comes back in, just ask him a question on the topic. He can answer it, then he will just go again. We're just like,
Yeah.
all right, now let's talk about United going into the season. We've been so used to United going into season being title favorites to, aiming for the Champions League, for the Premier League, to make sure that there is trophies, FA Cup, every trophy. Now that hasn't been the case for the last 8 years. Is this time different with the signing of Jadon Sancho and Varane, with Bruno Fernandes, and if Pogba stays in the team, Cavani, having 6 weeks rest? Is this? Does it feel different now?
I think each season, because we've seen the progress under Ollie, I think that just naturally is causing a bit more optimism
Yeah,
than say, expected. Because I think under when Mourinho's second season happened and we saw the window, which adds a lot to it as well, because you only get excited for the season when the Champions League. Oh no, when transfers happen. This, that, and the other, the transfer window, this, that, and the other. So obviously, when you see your team sign players, you think, oh, okay, cool, we got a chance this year, you know. And but no, I think this season there's a lot of optimism, but a lot of it, I think Ollie will be. I think for me though, while Ollie's been in charge, compared to other managers, the amount of criticism he has got and the amount of sort of stick he has got compared to say Arteta or Lampard when Lampard was in charge of Chelsea. I think it's going to be more on Ollie again this season if he doesn't deliver a trophy, which I think he will. I think it's about time. Is he back with us? You all right, Trey?
yeah,
But no, I think going into the season, I think it's more about just closing the gap again on City, because City, they don't really need, they have the squad there to compete for a few years on the bounce. Obviously, they've just added Jack Grealish into it. They could be added Harry Kane. We don't know what's wrong with that. Obviously, Liverpool have got all their players back, although I think they're playing a bit of a risky game by not actually signing any more players. Could be another case of a few injuries, and then that's it. Their title hopes are gone.
Well, he just got injured today, didn't he, Robertson?
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I think just literally before we came on air, or an hour. Well, I only saw it an hour ago, but I think he's done his ankle.
Oh,
It
wow.
looks really bad.
Oh, wow.
It looks bad. So
yeah, he's
Okay.
going to get.
Yeah, see, but yeah, I think United for the season. I think it's more again about if we push City close, but we win a trophy or two here and there, then I think you count that as a successful season. I know when you're when you support Man United and that, you obviously want to be winning the league every single season, but sometimes you need a bit more of a reality check.
I was going to say,
yeah, you can't be with the money City are throwing around, and other teams have gotten strong. Obviously, Chelsea are about to bag Lukaku, an elite quality striker, which I'm happy they're doing because that means we might have a free run at Erling Haaland next year. But he says hopefully.
I think, yeah, I'm more optimistic this season. To be honest, I thought there was a lot of positives to take from last season. And we've had a good window so far. Like I said, like what we just talked about with the DM, I still think we need that for it to take us to the next level. But yeah, like also to what you said, Nathan, to be realistic, I think we just need to finish in the top 4 again. And yeah, maybe a FA Cup, Carabao Cup, some sort of trophy. And I'd say that's an improvement again on last season, because to talk about the league and things like that, I think it might be a bit too soon, because I still think we need certain like parts of the squad sorted out before we do that.
But what is the requirement for Oli? What is success? It surely can't be just top 4 without any trophies again. Is it the FA Cup? Is it going into maybe the Champions League final, semi-final stages?
I think, but it depends who you ask, because clearly he got a new contract because we got top 4. So I think from a board's perspective, they just want top 4. They want the Champions League money rolling in so they can take it back out the club.
Yeah.
And that's all they care about. But if you're asking fans, obviously as fans, we want trophies. So I think, but if you're being realistic, another top 4 finish with a trophy, I think that would be considered as progress.
Yeah, that was his target last season. His target last season was to obviously get a trophy and to finish in the top 4. Obviously, we was able to finish second, which a lot of people do think that's overachievement. But for me, I just felt that the other team didn't take advantage. So we took advantage of our situation and ended up having a decent. So look, I agree with you both. I think that Oli needs a trophy, some sort of trophy. It could be an FA Cup, Carabao Cup. I think we need something just so Oli himself can have like physical evidence that there's progress. Because a lot of people are saying that, oh, what you guys have done is not really progress because you haven't got any trophies. But if you look at league positionings, you can evidently see that there's been progress. On Oli's sort of first full season, he got 3rd. Then obviously last season, 2nd. Who knows what's going to happen this season based on the signings that we hopefully do before the end of the window.
Yeah, us finished second. I kind of agree with what.
Now, this is my next
Danny
point.
said.
Danny has actually brought up this interesting point. Thank you so much for your work and for your comment, Danny. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, and I think the second, us finishing second feels like when we finished second under Jose.
I mean, you look at
to an
Chelsea
extent
signing
because
Romelu Lukaku. Like Nathan was actually saying, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a good thing because you look at for someone like Lukaku and the amount of money that they're spending on him. Surely that would mean we will have a career run on Haaland.
Yeah, definitely.
I think next season you have to see what the other clubs are like across Europe, because obviously, Inter are basically doing a fire sale at the moment.
Does it feel
Barcelona
like
will have 100% they're broke. Inter are broke as well.
The atmosphere and the feeling that you get from the players, the feeling that you get from just the whatever that's surrounding the club. Does it feel like how it was under Mourinho, where like you look at the football that the club plays? Is there like a feeling of more optimism now?
Yeah, 100%. I think I feel just the positivity in the dressing room and the atmosphere is completely different. Yeah, I can hear you.
I think what's happened now, I think the speech is like delayed from the point what we've been making, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like we was on about Lukaku and stuff like that, but then we're on a different point. But then the speech from Abdi's coming through later because of
Yeah.
connection wise. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like with what Danny said is true as well, because Chelsea have improved. They're going to get Lukaku
Yeah.
and Koundé from Sevilla. Man City have already
Can you guys hear me?
improved.
I think it's a little, the connection is a little bit bad.
Yeah, Canadian, yeah.
Yeah, Trey.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think because everyone's improved around us as well, it means, and they was already ahead of us in terms of their squads and the balance that they have in the squad and options. So I think for us, we still need to add a few more players, and that's why I think top 4 in a trophy probably would be the expectation. I think anything else might be a tad unrealistic, to be honest.
See, on that point about other teams have improved, I'm slightly 50-50 on that because I think the only two teams that really shouldn't have, well, not need to improve, but sort of like wouldn't have had to, would probably been City and Liverpool, considering how well they've done in the league. I think the teams below, say like Chelsea, United, I think they've probably improved. Not I wouldn't say more, but they would have had to improve more to catch up to them two.
Yeah.
Leicester, for me, at this point, are irrelevant because you've had the chance to finish top 4 the last 2 years and you've bottled it both times, no matter how many people turn around and say, oh, I feel sorry for Leicester. It's like, well, no, it's your fault for, it's your fault for messing it up. That's a cynical nature in my blind. But I think we've sort of been fortunate as well that, say, the likes of, say, Spurs, who've been in the previous decade a regular top 4, placeholder, they've sort of fallen off the cliff. I mean, that happens when you employ Jose Mourinho. But, I think that'd be another weird one. Obviously, we don't know what Tottenham are going to do this season. Arsenal, I can already say they're not finishing top 4. So you sort of, so you're sort of looking at it and thinking, well, for United, I think it literally, if you close, say if City win the league again, but they win it with, say, 3 or 4 games to go, that's a better staple than them winning it in January or February. Do you know what I mean? That's a better sort of, you can at least say, right, you've pushed the team in first place, rather than going, yeah, we were in the title hunt until, one game. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah. But no, I agree with that. And that's the difference for me is us finishing second, but so far behind them doesn't really, it just feels like a top 4 finish. It doesn't feel like, because we didn't push them, it wasn't like a real second place where he's in a title race and there was a chance of us actually winning it in the last few weeks of the season. It kind of just petered out a long time before that. So I think, that would also show improvement as well.
But surely, though, where all he needs to learn from is that was probably his first title charge at a high level. This is not Mulder. And you look at the team that he picked. For me, the most pivotal game in that season was the game against Sheffield United at home. He rotated his centre half, his left back, because he was probably thinking, I'm playing against Sheffield United, the team in the 20th place. We conceded a set piece goal and a goal that they just passed it around like they were Barcelona. And since that game, we then drew against West Brom. We drew a couple of games here and there. We conceded last minute against Everton. So surely what he needs to learn is, yes, rotate the players, but you see players like that have overplayed a lot, like Rashford, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Bruno Fernandes. Surely you have to learn to use your whole squad better. Now, since he's had that experience, he has to get closer, but also a trophy is a must. Trophy is a must. Now, realistically, though, can you see United being, or any of you, can you see United being a Premier League winner with Oli in charge and as well as these owners in charge?
Owners is a difficult one, but under Ollie, it's like, I think I can and I can't. I just know that for a fact that if Ollie were to leave, say tomorrow, and obviously that means United wouldn't have won a league title or trophy under him, the next manager coming in will have, like, say if it's a more elite
Yeah.
manager than say Ollie, he'll have a better squad to deal with than the squad that Ollie inherited when Jose went, and the amount of sort of the bad atmosphere that was causing around that time. I think we can win the title under Ollie. I think with Ollie, it's the case of like you see like the results in on the pitch. And I know you said about like the likes of Sheffield United and Everton, this, that, and the other, but that's that will. I think those games will sort of as Ollie progresses, because this is his first job at a big club. Obviously, he won the league title at Molde and stuff like that. But it's like first job at a big club in the Premier League, and for me, judging by the improvements we've seen and the way the squad is and the way they talk about him and stuff like that, I don't think there's any reason why Ollie can't win the title. I think it'd be great for him. I think it will also sort of prove a lot of people wrong. Because
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, it will prove a lot of people wrong. Yeah.
because I think I just said before, like the amount of say the media loving said the likes of Arteta and Lampard have got during their times at their respective clubs compared to Ollie, whereas like one bad result, Ollie's on the verge of the sack. One good result, Bruno Fernandes has saved Ollie's job once again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
But
Yeah.
even to cut in here, but the craziest thing is, and this is what I feel people don't really give Ollie his sort of respect and just dues. In terms of like comparisons with obviously at the time Lampard and obviously Arteta, for me there's a clear sort of difference between all of them because Ollie's actually got managerial experience. Obviously, the people who obviously have been watching the Prem, they know Ollie's experience through his time at Swansea. But if you look at what he's done at Molde, just a little fact here that before joining Molde as a manager, Molde didn't win the league for 100 years. So just put that in your head. 100 years, they won the league. Ollie comes in, brings in some United people from the start, of course, and ends up doing the job. It isn't, yes, a major trophy that you could sort of class as great experience, but at least there is some sort of experience there to work with. And I just think that right now, just over the seasons, there's been a good improvement in terms of Ollie's signings during the windows. Think about signing Maguire and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, for example. They both have obviously stabilised our defence, of course, Bruno. And it just feels like as well that Ollie, in a sense, I don't know what's going on, but certain signings that we want, we've actually gone for and we've got them. Do you know what I mean? So we just need to just to continue to support him and, let's see what happens. Hopefully we can finally get this DM so we can see what we can really do with this squad that we've got. Because I think once we get a DM and to answer Abdi's question, we can win the league.
Yes, so that's going to be my next question now. United have been linked with Kieran Trippier a lot this summer. I don't see why, to be honest with you, because you got Diego Dallo, who's I think is very good backup for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But let's put that aside. Why not spend the money that you're trying to spend on Kieran Trippier on a holding midfielder then? Is he not pushing for a holding midfielder? Is he just happy with the midfield that he has?
See, the Trippier one, I still think it's a weird one because, like the reasons you said, you've got Diogo Dallo. And, obviously, it probably looks as though Brandon Williams would probably go out on loan then. So if the likes of Trippier does come in, because apparently, according to sort of reports and that Trippier would come in not as a backup for Wan-Bissaka, but potentially a first team like replacement. And I think with Trippier though, obviously attacking wise, obviously a lot of people label like the flack at Wan-Bissaka, saying that like, oh, you know, he can't attack stuff like that. If you actually watch him throughout the whole of last season, gradually speaking, his attacking game has improved. You know,
Yes.
he is getting into the
Yes.
right areas. He is getting to the right sort of positions, stuff like that.
Yep.
You know, and with time, you know, not everyone could be Trent Alexander-Arnold. You know, for me, if you're going, oh, who would you rather have like taking on Mbappe one-on-one? You'd pick Wan-Bissaka all day long.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I agree. I don't know. Like for me, at DM, like if you would have said at the start of this window, what do United need? Right wing, centre back, and CDM would have been the options. You know, because I think earlier, like I said, with centre back, I think we were all sort of surprised that wow, we've managed to get Rafa Varane for the dirt cheap money that we managed to get him for. Considering, you know, he'd probably, if he had a few years left of his contract, you're probably looking at about 100 million for like Wan-Bissaka. Not Wan-Bissaka, sorry, Varane even. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Varane,
yeah.
He's
Um,
easily.
but yeah, I agree. I don't like, for me, spend that money in the CDM.
I can see
Yeah,
why I can see why the Trippier transfer is happening though, because I like Dalot, but he clearly doesn't, and he's the manager, and he's not having him pretty much. So, and I think he might still be leaving this window anyway. So
yeah.
because we was linked with Trippier, weren't we linked with him last season as well?
Yes, yeah. We were linked
Yeah,
with him
so-
also before he went to Atletico Madrid from Tottenham.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
I've
just find it weird,
and-
this link with Trippier. I just don't see it.
No, I can, but Wan-Bissaka played too many games last season as well. He was never really rotated. I
Yeah.
think him and Maguire and Bruno, I think they got, especially with Wan-Bissaka and Bruno, I think they suffered from burnout towards the end of the season. So you do need, it's a position, especially the way we play, you do need like rotation there. I think eventually Brandon Williams would be sold as well. I don't really see him kicking on from what we've seen already. That's just me personally. So I do think I can see why we are being linked with Trippier in that sense. It wouldn't be what I would sort out first, but I can see why the link is
No,
there.
I can definitely see why we're being linked with the right back, but I'm just not sure about Trippier. Like, it's just because he's from Manchester. He's a United fan. I just don't see it. Like, there's so many right backs that you could sign in this world, and you're just obsessed with Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Trippier because apparently they've scouted over 80 right backs and they came up with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Yeah. Now, my question is, Trent.
Yeah.
You look at the signing of Sancho. You look at the signing of Varane.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the new season? Because I've heard Jess's thoughts and Nathan's thoughts. Are you excited? I mean, are you looking forward to it? We've got the first game of the season against Leeds United. How do you feel?
Yeah, we've got scrappers in League, man. That's gonna be beautiful. We're playing at Old Trafford, to be fair. Look, I've said this a few times, man. The energy is great. Just seeing the likes of Bruno looking good against Everton, of course. I know it's just a pre-season game, but I could see where Ollie's going at with the squad that he's picking and with the players that he's utilising in his squad. I feel that last season, the difference between us winning a trophy and not winning a trophy, which obviously we did, was. And now I feel that adding players like Varane, like Sancho, they just, one, obviously improves our starting 11, but it also gives us that squad as well. Because I feel that competition is very important in the squad, for example. And if guys are sort of complacent, like, for example, Wan-Bissaka, for example, absolutely love him. But I feel that because he hasn't had that direct competition for him to level, we've had to consistently play him. Now, I feel that the lot's obviously gone out and low. He's done a good time at Milan. He's back, he's hungry, and he wants to obviously push for that right back spot as well. So I think that little competition between them two can be healthy. Do you know what I mean? Because let's say, for example, The lot comes on second half for Wan-Bissaka. The lot assists a goal. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna give Ollie a little bit of a headache. Like, oh man, like, should I be starting the lot? Do you know what I mean? Rather than
Yeah.
playing Wan-Bissaka throughout the season, of course you're gonna burn out, and of course performances are gonna drop. So I'm
Yeah. Now
optimistic to do something this
that's
season.
good. No, that's very good to hear. Um, Now, my next question is: this is going to be really annoying, guys. But David De Gea or Dean Henderson, what is going on with that? I know Henderson is not going to play the first game of the season, COVID and all of that.
Yeah.
But what is
No,
the
he's got
situation
COVID. I
like?
think he's got an injury. It's not COVID. He's got an actual
Oh, he's
injury.
got an injury.
Yeah,
Okay.
'cause that's why he withdrew from the England squad because he's got like a I think like a hip
Yeah.
injury or something like that. Yeah.
But you look at this goalkeeper situation at United. It's a mess. Just like if you think about it, you got here. What's it? 4 senior goalkeepers. You got Lee Grant, Tom Heaton, David De Gea, and Dean Henderson. What's going on over there? Like, what is the solution here?
I think that was one of the other problems from last season as well, was that he wasn't sure about his number one, and I think that's also another position that needs to get sorted out in the future.
Yeah.
I think at the moment, I would have went with Henderson if he was fit at the start of the season, because I don't know what it is with De Gea. I think we've seen the best of him already, for us to be quite honest. And I know some
agree.
goalkeepers get better with age and all that type of stuff, but I think for us, I think we've seen the best of him already. And I think for different reasons. I don't think it's like because he's not as good as he used to be. I don't know if his heart's in it really for United anymore, like it was before. I think he signed the new contract, and I think he's just kind of, just going through the motions with us. I don't really see
Just
the
going.
hunger.
He's just going to work, basically.
Yeah, I think he's just going work, ticking over, just signing in, doing his thing, and then going home. I don't really.
Sounds like my job.
Paycheck.
Sounds like my job. I just walk in,
Yeah.
sign
Yeah.
it, do the work. Don't worry
Be
about
careful, your boss is watching.
it.
But no, I think that's something that needs to get sorted in the next couple of windows, really. Whether if he doesn't fancy Henderson in number one, I think that's something that needs to get addressed in the next couple of windows.
I'm not
That
gonna
is
lie.
something that a ruthless coach will have to make a decision about. That's where Oli, I felt like last season where he went wrong was he waited until David De Gea went to Spain, where I think his newborn baby was just born, and he waited until then to go with Dean Henderson. And when De Gea came back, he still didn't get into the team until probably in the Europa League games. That's why I feel like it's just a bit wrong. Like it shouldn't take for someone to go and have a baby for you to replace him. It doesn't feel right. Do you see what I mean?
I think
Yeah.
as well though. Sorry to put him. I think as well, if you look at, say, if United were to offer out De Gea this summer, who realistically would say like, yeah, we'll take him? Because here's the thing: like PSG just got like Donnarumma and Navas, so they don't need him. Barcelona have to Stegen. Madrid have Courtois. The only team I realistically think who would probably take a pop on him would probably be Juventus, and the reason why is because they've got Szczesny and goal.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? So you look at that and think I think the time for De Gea to go to Madrid was probably that summer when obviously Navas was going to come the other way, and
Fax machine.
the fact. But I think for some reason with De Gea though, I don't think he's completely done yet, and the reason why is because I think he might feel a lot more confident. Say if he's now going to have Varane and Maguire in front of him. I know, like during his peak seasons at United, and that he was obviously the reason why he was saving us week in week out is because he had Smalling and Jones in front of him. You know, and to be fair, if you have that in front of you every single week, you are going to feel emotionally tired. Do you know what I mean? So he'd be like, well, why am I saving these man? You know what I mean? It's I'm done with that. Do you know what I mean? But like, say if he does have a competent back four in front of him. You know, because I think at times last season he looked like not back to his best, but he just looked solid through periods of last season. Dean Henderson, obviously, it's a case of like, I remember he had the moment against Sheffield United where they were trying to play it out from the back, and he literally just played it out to the Sheffield United player, and he scored. But the Tom Heaton one's a weird one though. I thought, because I thought, realistically speaking, you probably could have just kept the 3 goalkeepers instead of going for Tom Heaton as well, because obviously Sergio Romero's gone. And I thought United really sort of treated him unfairly, because Sergio Romero, whenever
horribly.
Whenever I remember when the Gea and Henderson debates were happening, I sat there just thinking, why don't you play Sergio Romero, because he's done nothing wrong. I
don't understand what happened there.
Yeah, but now I would, to end my point, I'd probably go Henderson, because I think with him, I can see a similar sort of thing to what maybe the Pogba situation back in the day. So, like, if we let him go, then he becomes one of these,
100%.
Yeah.
But the other thing, just to add to what you said about Heaton, I think the only reason we signed him is just to make up the quota for English-born players that are trained at your club. I think that's the only real reason, and I think a lot of clubs are kind of doing that with their number 3s now. They're just getting someone that's English just to fill the quota, really. I don't think he's going to play or anything like that. I can't see any other reason why we signed him other than that.
That's why they probably re-signed Paul McShane as well. But
But that's one thing. Any club, you have to have a number 1, and he's got to decide on who it is and just run with it and stick with it.
Exactly.
And
you have to.
instead of this tossing, because they need to know that they're starting, and it helps with the consistency and the relationships you have with the centre backs and things like that. Because sometimes he's rotating the goalkeepers and rotating the centre backs, and it don't work together.
Yeah, Trey, what's your thoughts on this?
The goalkeeping situation's a bit of a strange one, because the goalkeeper situation, you should know who's in goal. It's like, especially when you're building a squad, you know who's in goal. And for me, I think we missed a trick in the summer. I reckon we should have at least attempted to go for Donnarumma and really solidify that foundation at the back. But I have to agree with, obviously, the lads here. I think Dean Henderson, I would stop. I feel that there is about him. We haven't seen enough of it, but I feel there is something about him that potentially, if he just gets a run of games, obviously we're going to see how Henderson's going to be like when obviously 65,000 United fans are obviously going to be cheering the lads on. We're going to see how his character is going to be like, how he's able to manipulate that situation. So that's what I'm sort of looking forward to as well. And I think that with Henderson in the squad as well, it gives De Gea that little itch in his back that, look, if I flop, then I'm going to get dropped. Do you know what I mean? Same as Henderson. So the competition can be sort of quite good, but I don't personally like it, but it can work in our favour depending on which goalkeeper actually wants to be the number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of Dean Henderson and De Gea, I have said this way back into the start of last season. I felt like the best De Gea was in 2018, and after that, when Ronaldo scored that free kick, I don't think he's ever been the same.
It's finished him after that free kick.
Yeah, he's just not been the same guy. Yeah, so guys, now I think we can all agree. Obviously, he's gonna play in the first game of the season. Dean Henderson's not gonna be there, so David De Gea is gonna be in goal. Who's your centre halves and your right back and left back for the game against Leeds United?
Picks itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does pick itself. Although it's like Maguire will be back. For Varane, it's a case of like the medical and the announcements can be Wednesday.
So it'll be Lindelof then.
Yeah,
you're gonna have Maguire, Lindelof, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Luke Shaw. Yeah. What about in midfield? Are we gonna This is where we're going to be struggling with.
Nah, you know what? I think you know what's gonna happen. I think Ollie's gonna do the double pivot. If we don't get a DM, it looks like he's gonna do the double pivot with Pogba and Fred playing that position. What I think he's gonna do. If that's not gonna be the case, if Pogba's not fit enough, then it looks like Van der Beek. Who you see the team that we played against? I think that's the similar sort of team that's gonna start against Leeds. If I'm honest with you, in terms of fitness.
Would you not start with McTominay, who scored 2 goals last season against Leeds United?
It's a good shot, but that position's a toss-up. See what I'm talking about? Whereas we should
Okay.
be having a debate about that position, for example, if we've got a solidified DM, it should just be like that. Pogba with that player, or
Yeah.
4-3-3.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
So your preference would be to go with 4-3-3, but you don't think that's going to happen. You'll probably revert to a double pivot in midfield. Yeah, maybe Donny van de Beek will play, maybe not. Okay, now in terms of would Jadon Sancho be on the bench, or I don't
No,
know?
I started. I'd happily start him. I'll be like, right,
Yeah,
your first game in, stuff like that. I think it'd be more likely that Greenwood's down the middle, and you probably see a front three with Sancho, Marshall, and.
but Cavani is back in training, right?
I don't know. I think he's back in training, but I think he's had a bit more of extended time off than the rest of them. I think obviously because
So we're gonna see Daniel. So we're gonna see James.
I think
Greenwood,
I think it would be the team that the front three would be the same as what started against Everton.
Yeah.
I think he'll have James on the left, Martial down the middle, Greenwood on the right. I don't see him starting Sancho. I think he's not even. Has only just come back this week.
He
He's
hasn't
only
even
trained
trained.
1 week, hasn't he?
He's back.
Hasn't even trained.
Back tomorrow.
Yeah, so he's definitely not going to start on Saturday. So he most probably more than maybe he comes on after 60 minutes, maybe he gets the last 20 minutes. Also, it would depend on what's happening in the game as well. If we're losing, then you might see him at half time. But I think that would be the same front three. They've been there the whole pre-season, haven't they, as well? So they would be like conditioning wise, they'll be fitter than the other options.
Yes.
Midfield.
In terms of the younger players, is there anybody that has impressed you in the preseason that you could see on the bench?
Elanga for me, like he might at push, he might be pushing to start that game against Leeds. To be honest, I thought in pre-season he was absolutely brilliant. He looks as though because there was before the pre-season started, he was releasing like images of him like sort of in the gym and stuff like that, bulking up, and you think, okay, right, this lad's gonna attempt it this season, and then obviously like some of the goals he scored in pre-season have been brilliant. I think if you were to drop anyone out of front three, like you suggested about James, Marshall, and Greenwood, it'll probably it might be Marshall, and the reason why is because I think Marshall's like, although he's got a bit more big game experience than the other two, I don't think he's featured much in pre-season as say the other like. Yeah.
But, and he's coming back from a long injury. The guy's been injured since March, you know.
Yeah. And what we'll say is that Leeds, I think, although you kind of know how they're going to set up, they're going to obviously that Bielsa ball press and this, that, and the other. I think they might look at it and think, right, we might learn a bit from last season because they came out flying out the blocks last season. They were 2-0 down. They were 2-0 down in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like this time round they might be a bit more sort of reserved to what they were at Ellen Road to sort of nullify things and then obviously then play their game later on. Because if they make Old Trafford quiet after 20 minutes, then they know they've got a chance, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Because it's sort of, if you nullify the home team, and it's going to be the first game back and a big game as well, you could sort of progress on from there.
Okay. Now, guys, let's talk about score predictions of this game. We have to talk about it. Trey, how do you see United go in this game?
I'm going for 3-0.
Oh, okay. Jess?
2-1 to United.
Okay, yeah. Nathan?
3-1.
All right, so now I'm gonna have to go with 2-0 United and Bruno Fernandes getting both of them.
But depends.
Get your fantasy points ready, guys, because Bruno Fernandes is gonna kill it this season. They made what is he now? What 12 million or is it
Yeah, they made him
12.5?
expensive. Yeah, they made him expensive, man.
Yeah, man.
Man, last season we enjoyed it though. We really enjoyed that.
He loved Fernandez last season.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
So
I loved
guys,
it. I loved it, man. I loved it.
yeah, so unfortunately, I have to finish the show here. We've been almost an hour now. It's getting quite late. So, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on this podcast with me. Yeah, we talked about United, the club of the state. Now, what we're gonna do is the next episode we're gonna focus on another football club. Will probably be Chelsea or someone else. And yeah, we're gonna be looking into this new season. So yeah, make sure that you do tune in, and it's gonna be a really fantastic season, hopefully for United. And yeah, what else can I say, guys? Thank you so much for joining, and make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe, and make sure that you share with your friends. Take care.
Yes. Take care.
Cheers, man.